It is 7 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Before we adopt the agenda, I think there is a small error at 11.3. It's a 2019. It should go to 2024. If you want to correct the error. So we have a motion in order, moved by Councillor Comeau, seconded by Councillor Hill. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. Any items on the agenda that could put you in a conflict of interest? Okay, we'll go on to 3 presentations. We don't have any this evening. Item 4, adoption of the minutes, 4.1, September 19th, 2018. Regular council meeting. Any errors or omissions? There is a small clarification that should be made to the motion of 5.3 when it says that it's in English. It should be motion to recommend, because it was a motion to recommend to the council, so technically the motion was not made. So if you want to approve the minutes with that small change. Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. 4.2, October 3rd, 2018. Council in committee meeting, any errors or omissions? Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Thibault. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. There is nothing under business arising from the previous council meetings, so we will go on to item 6, the warden's activity report. On September 25th, I attended to the meeting of the Board of Directors of Harborside Lodge in Yarmouth. On October 26th and of September 26th, 27th, I attended the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Acadian Economic Council in Halifax. On October 4th, I attended to the Digby, and that is a committee. There is myself, the warden of Digby, the mayor of Digby, the health authority, and different members of community groups. As you know, there is a crisis for the doctors. They are trying to find solutions. The 2 doctors who had come not too long ago are already gone. So the group wants to meet to find solutions. On October 11th, I attended a session with the NSFM to discuss the provincial approach on the rural internet. Myself and Stefan, we went to Truro for that. It was a good session. On October 15th, yesterday, I attended to the Western Ren Summit on immigration. It was to look at, there was a lot of people in the industries and from Clare who are looking for employees. So these are the different organizations who work in immigration to start working on that. It was a good session. And later on that same afternoon, there was a consultation meeting for the next strategic plan. And I think this will continue, but they are looking at preparing a plan again. So instead of starting from scratch, they looked at the plan and to see what was accomplished and what should remain and continue with that. It was not a long report. I don't know if you have any questions. When you met, you spoke about high-speed internet. When was it? It was in Truro. It was a Develop Nova Scotia session. They are putting the criteria in place for the 192 millions that the province put aside for the internet. But there was not really nothing new. It was essentially to explain their vision. Eastlink was there and Seaside. There were a lot of discussions. In the afternoon, there were 3 municipalities who explained the way that they made an approach. There was Lunenburg, Kings County, who had money from CTI, the Connecting Communities, and Annapolis, who was there to present their project. So essentially that was it, but I didn't see any criteria for application yet. There's no criteria for the financing yet, but do they have an idea when there will be some criterias? Now they are consulting with the communities. They are getting ready to consult to develop the criteria. If I remember correctly, they are looking at the 2019 spring. They have not a specific date, but that's what they aim for at the end of winter and the beginning of spring. I had talked about this earlier with Stefan, but it should be mentioned. It's good to talk about it because they have 192 million, and the problem that they have is a $5 million problem with the province. So they are looking at to see how they can spend the money to be really effective. And that's with the partners and the public center, the private centers and CRTC, who has 770 million for the country, but they don't have any criteria either. So what we will see before the 2019 federal elections, the federal will come with another program for connecting communities. I don't know, we don't know the amount, but there are rumors that it would be in the 100 to 150 million. There is money around, but we have to line up for it. I think the idea is with our expressions of interest and the fact that we are negotiating with these programs, maybe it could be good timing if it can work, if it can fall in place. Any more questions? Then we can go on to official statements from the members of council. Councillor Poche, I think you had something? Yes, just to mention, we have a business in Clare here who will celebrate their 80th anniversary of working, and it's on October the 20th, 2018. AF Terrio and Sons will have an opening ceremony and a family day, and they are inviting everybody to go visit all that was done during these years. And the council itself, we will send them a certificate that will be presented by the warden during the ceremonies. And I will read the certificate in French. We have 2 of them. But the members of the Clare Municipal Council want to congratulate AF Terrio and Sons in recognition of your 80th anniversary as industrial leader, celebrated October 20th, 2018. We thank you for your contribution and your engagement towards the citizens of Clare during your years of service. Thank you. Councillor DeVoe? Just a few things that I attended in the weeks that just went by. On October 3rd, I attended the tour of Acadian sea plants at Cornwallis Park. That was really interesting. We visited what they are doing with the seaweed. It was really interesting. I went with a few other councillors, Mr. Seard and our warden. On October 11th, I attended the symposium on energy. This was in Digby. They talked a lot about the future of how we will heat ourselves. It was interesting. There were some people who spoke in favor and against, so it was really a good day.
On the 13th, October 13th, I participated at the anniversary for the song. It's the 40th anniversary of the song Sunnyvale Station. That was written by Dennis Como. He's from Clare, and the song is played by someone from Clare, but he's the one who wrote the song. So there's a sign at the track at Sunnyvale Station, and so they showed the new sign, and everyone sang the song. Everyone that was there sang. It was really nice. So that was for the 40th anniversary of the song. Thank you. Councillor Dusa. I just want to say that on October 5th, I presented a certificate to 100th birthday to Rosalind Saunier, and she really appreciated that, and I did that on behalf of the council. And as Councillor DeVos said, I had a small speech at the 40th anniversary of the Sunnyvale Station sign. There was about 50, 60 people there. People really liked it. Thank you. I saw your picture on Facebook for the certificate. I think they appreciated it. Are there other official presentations? We have a practice every year that students that go to Sherbrooke to med school, they have an attachment to the community. We usually send a congratulations letter to them. So I'd like to ask if everyone would be in agreement to send 3 letters, one to Jessica Deveau, who's from Shetika, Justice Delaney Smith, who was a student here at St. Anne's, who got accepted in med school this year, and Cassandra Warren, that was also at St. Anne's, that got accepted in med school. So when they go to Sherbrooke, we like to send them a letter, and then when you go and visit them, they remember that the municipality sent them a letter. Councillor Dusa? There's another one that was at St. Anne's that was accepted in med school. I forget her name. Her brother and sister are here, but he's from New Brunswick, so I'll find his name. But I know he's there. So if you all agree to send a congratulations letter to the 3 students, okay, thank you. Next, we'll go to number 8, correspondence 8.1. Letter for the Health Clare Foundation, Lionel D'Entremont. Thank you.
Tournament played at the Clare Golfing Country Club on August 3rd was again an outstanding success. The sportsmanship and generosity of all the teams was again quite apparent. This year, the Clare Health Centre Foundation, with the support and collaboration of Billable Motors Limited, proudly hosted the successful, sunny, fun-filled day of golf. As in past years, the proceeds of the tournament will go towards the purchase of new medical equipment and for the upkeep of existing equipment at the Clare Health Centre, as well as support L'Atelier de Clare, our local nonprofit adult service/workshop centre. The generosity of the business community and the citizens of the area was overwhelming for this fundraiser. We had an amazing turnout and raised $26,441.15 in total. Proceeds from the tournament itself, $25,843.15, will go to the Clare Health Centre Foundation, and funds raised at the Putting Green event, $598, went to support L'Atelier de Clare. Your attendance and support have played an important role in our event's success. In closing, the Clare Health Centre Foundation would like to personally thank you for contributing to and participating in our annual fundraising event. We hope to see you at the event next year on August 2nd, 2019. Best regards, Lionel D'Entremont, Event Leader, Clare Health Centre.
Are there any questions, comments? It's certainly a great event. Next, we'll go to 8.2, Letter Office of Acadian Affairs and Francophonie. Tracy Tawil.
Deputy Dean and our team, I would like to sincerely thank you and Mr. Sear for meeting with us on September 12th to discuss the provision of French language services within the municipality of Clare. We very much appreciated the discussion, and we agreed that both the Department of Municipal Affairs and the Office of Acadian Affairs and Francophonie would work together to explore potential avenues to assist the municipality in augmenting its capacity in the delivery of French language services. I would invite you to submit to the Office of Acadian Affairs and Francophonie a list of initiatives that would assist you in meeting your goals for the delivery of French language services, along with approximate costs. Please send this information directly to Mark Bannerman at the Office of Acadian Affairs and Francophonie. It was a pleasure to meet with you both, and I look forward to collaborating with you in the near future. Sincerely, Tracy to.
So that was more or less a follow-up from the meeting that we asked from the department to more or less discuss the two recommendations that came out of Kenneth's report about official languages. So I'm not sure you're going to see exactly what we can do, how much it would cost us to be more efficient, or what I'd like to do is, as you just suggested, I'd like to prepare a letter in response to Deputy DeWheel. But before sending it, I'd like to give it to the council members, just so I can get your feedback, especially regarding our needs in terms of services and the dollars associated to those needs, to have your support before I send the letter. So I hope to be able to do that in the following weeks. Councillor Camo. So the initiatives are for services, operations here at the office, or I see it more as a at operational level, yes, but for the municipality to offer services in both official languages. As you know, we're the only Nova Scotia bilingual municipality in Nova Scotia. But it's something that we do and we're proud to do. But there's a cost, a real cost associated to this. So for me, it would be operational costs here in Little Brook, but also, for example, at Le Rendez-vous de l'Abeille, the medical center, all our buildings, all our services that we offer, that the municipality offers. So there are certain of these services that are easy to quantify. They're in our budget. But others they're not as tangible, things that we can put our hands on, but there's cost associated to it, to the intangibles. So that's a little more difficult to quantify. So that's what we have to really think about if we want to put a number to all this, to really recognize these challenges. There's not really a formula, not one that I know anyways, to come up to a specific number. So we'll just have to kind of see what we judge as being reasonable and send it to the province for their consideration. I have the impression it's going to be a discussion, a little bit of back and forth between us and them before we get back to an amount in the final decision. I was just going to say, if you guys remember, one recommendation was that they change the MGA, that the municipality was the only one who offered its services, but that's something that's hard to do. And honestly, do we want to do it? That's a big question. And I'm not sure that they want to do it either. But at the same time, I have the impression that they're open to work with us, to look at how we can be known as a bilingual municipality without going to the level and going through the house and changing everything. This wouldn't include our heritage, culture, education, things like that. It's specific to, no, it would be more like operational costs. Like, for example, easy example is the simultaneous translation that we do at the meetings. It's a service that's not offered by other municipalities, as far as I know, but there's a real cost associated to that service, and now it's paid for 100% by the municipality, and there's a lot like that. all our posters are in English and French when we can, so we have additional costs to that when we do advertising, for example, etc. So that's what we're looking at right now with the province. If they want us to be recognized as a bilingual municipality, as the report recommends it, and certainly we want to offer quality service in both French and English. So we need some help to be able to do it. Their help would be greatly appreciated if they want us to implement the recommendations as they have been recommended. Are there other questions? All right, so next we'll go to 8.3, opening ceremony and family day at AF Terrio. This is just as information, but Councillor Putya already spoke about it earlier, but once again, it's the opening ceremony and family day at AF Terrio. Everyone's invited. The public is invited to assist at their 80th anniversary celebration. So that's for the councillor and the public. And that'll be held Saturday, October 20th from 11 a.m. Okay, next we'll go to the CAO report. Thank you. For the activities of the Clare 250, I'll just do a quick overview of the projects. The moving of the stage at the rendezvous has started, but because of the bad weather, the work has not been yet completed. So according to the scheduled plan, but the work is in progress, and we're hoping to have everything done by the end of November. There was a concert, an outdoor concert that was planned, but unfortunately, again, we couldn't have it outside. So the concert took place at the Chateau. They tell me there was about 150 people there for the show. The next day, as Councillor Doucet and Deveau mentioned, there was a celebration for the 40th anniversary of Sunnyvale Station. So that was also a big success as part of a Clare 250 event. We received good comments on social media, on our Facebook page especially. The event was shared on Facebook by a lot, so that was another many social media, Twitter, etc. So that was a great event. For the cultural hub, maybe you saw the sign at the road. We are putting up the sign. The base has been put up. So the frame, the aluminum frame is up as well. So the rest of the work will be put up, which is essentially the roof, which will be blue to match with the building. That will be put up. And to put up the signs to show the different renters of the building. That'll be done within the next few weeks. All the works in relation to the building itself are done. If you remember, maybe earlier this summer with Clare 250, there was an photo exposition at the Rendezvous de la Baie. That exhibit will be moved and showed permanently at the hub, at the cultural hub, right when you go in on the left-hand side. It'll be on the wall. So that'll be a really nice addition to the center. So for the St. Bernard Fire Hall, the last touch-ups are being made this week, just small things, paint. So the project is essentially finished. There's a few small work that they fall a little bit outside of the work, but storage racks, painting of the floor, so that'll be done. The firefighters will do it themselves. It's not something that will be added to the contract. If all goes as planned, the firefighters think they'll be moved into the new room by the end of the month, so in 2 weeks approximately.
For the Veterans Hall in Clare, we had tenders for work at the basement to convert it to a dance studio. The tender call was closing on July 16th, but it was a lot higher than the work required. So we decided to invite some tenders again, and this will close on October 29th. So between now and a couple of weeks, for the biggest work on infrastructure there, we talked, the staff is putting together some estimates on certain projects that we could possibly go forward with, and expecting that the province and the federal will announce some funding for these phases. And we are preparing a request for the funds. We want to present it to you for your information before we go anywhere else with the province. The Grand Fondo was, again, another success. The weather was perfect. We had 1,042 people who registered for the event, and the day of the event, there were 970 who participated. Every year, there are some at the last minute who decide not to participate, but it is still a good turnout. Of those 970 people, there were 51% their first time in the event. It's new people who came to the municipality for the event. We also had a survey with these participants. Of the 970 participants, we already had 449 participants who answered our survey, so it's a 40% response, and the comments were positive, were extremely positive in the comments we received. The mini fondo, there was also, we had a goal of 100 participants. The first time we offered the mini fondo for the youths, but we had 95 participants. And if you remember that morning, it wasn't the best morning weather-wise. So the organizers are very happy with 95. To come back to the 970 participants, there were 214 who came from outside the province of Nova Scotia. So that was also an increase, a slight increase compared to last year. And without forgetting the volunteers, we had over 200 volunteers this year for the event, and that also represents an increase compared to last year. For the media coverage, it was good this year. Radio-Canada and CBC. The radio was very well. Le Courrier, La Vanguard were there. For the television, it's always a challenge. The organizers saw that we did not have the success with the television that we wanted, but it is something still a goal for next year. We will continue to try to increase our media coverage on the television stations. As for the sewer system in Meteghan, the pipe that I mentioned, just a few elements that we have to do to complete. We received all the equipment to complete the work, the pumps and force drives, everything is in place. The installation will take place next week. Our two employees in Public Works have followed training on the equipment, and between now and next week, that project should be completed. The rural internet is still an important dossier for the municipality. As mentioned earlier, we are still in discussion. The solution that we propose and we hope to put in place is to get fiber optics on as far as the houses. For the places that are more isolated, we will try a solution, wireless solution. We don't know exactly where the wires will go. The details aren't in yet, but I can tell you that a substantial part of the municipality that will be served by fiber optics. We hope to communicate more information soon as it's available, and we will have a press release. So we will discuss this in camera this evening because of the certain aspects. The World Acadian Congress, for the Clare and Argyle submission, the work is being prepared by the ad hoc committee. We asked for consultation services from the private sector, and the contract was granted to Martin Theberge Consultant. We met with Mr. Theberge today to have a plan of action to see how we will look at the preparation of the dossier for presenting our candidacy. It's a big work. The municipality also received, we had submitted a request for the province of Nova Scotia through the Acadian Affairs and Francophonie Department to find money to get some money to get this dossier going, and we received or will receive $25,000 from the province, which is a matching funding with what the municipalities of Clare and Argyle are putting in to match. And as part of that project, I participated in the annual meeting of the Acadian Society and the World Congress on September 28th to the 30th. That was just to meet the different players, the members of the Acadian National Society, and also to see how they are preparing for next week the Congress in New Brunswick. So it was a good weekend, a lot of information and good information that will help us to prepare our document. The Echo Park, we will also talk about this in camera this evening. For the Clare Health Center, you see in the last week we had the transfer of systems from Nightingale, and that transfer is now complete. The doctors and the municipal employees received a training on the new system. Not a surprise, it was not easy. There are still some small challenges there, but the most of it is done, and it will take a bit more time for them to get familiar with the system. We also have discussions with Nova Scotia health authorities. I can confirm the hiring of a new medical practicing nurse who will be at the medical center, and the person will be in place as of January 2019. The position has been created and approved by the health board. For the financing of the municipality, we are still in good financial position. On September 30th, 2018, the municipality registered $8,395,321 in revenue compared to $4,240,525 in expenses, for a revenue of $4,155,000 plus. Again, on September 30th, the municipality had a balance of $3,430,495 in its operation, $193,702 in the capital funds, and a total in reserves of $3,791,497. That figure can be divided in the following sense: $444,143 in operations, and capital reserves $2,366,361. Our landfill closure $321,422, and finally our gas tax reserve $659,561. And for the gas tax, we did not receive the full amount that was allotted to us for 2018-19. There is still an amount coming normally in the last quarter of the year. Just a few meetings where I attended. On September 28th, I met with Scott Bryson, who is president of the National Treasury Board, and Minister of Infrastructures and Community Minister. There was a meeting in Windsor, and there were other municipal colleagues around the table, but it was to discuss the infrastructure programs, but also what our needs are in infrastructures and what are our priorities. It was a good discussion. The message for Clare was that the internet be the priority of the council. This is our most important, and I was not the only one around the table who wanted the internet. It was a priority. I spoke of the annual meeting of the Société de l'Acadie. I participated with the tour at Acadian Sea Plant in Cornwallis, and they talked about the research and development and a few other sessions that were mentioned by council members. A few meetings that I will participate in the next few weeks. I will be at the Fan Acadian Federation annual meeting in Halifax. The medical recruitment committee will meet in the next weeks. And federations will have a session on trade, international trade, and that will be next week, and I hope to go. The conference, the fall conference of NSFM will be on November 6th, and I will participate with the warden and Councillor DeVoe. And finally, as part of that session or that conference, the Economic Development Council will have a conference for the Acadian and Francophone business people, and that is a good chance of meeting other business people from across the province. It will be a good exchange of information, and we will also meet some public servants from the province, and it is a good way to link with the others. That is my report. Thank you. I think you all met her. For the people who are at home also, we recently hired Emile Paradis as our communications officer. Emile is here this evening to see what is happening at the council, and Amy will be present at our council meeting, so she is here tonight. There's only been a week since she's here, but we appreciate her already. So I am confident that it will be a good addition to the team here at the Bay. And welcome. Thank you. Any questions on his report? The position for the Clare Health Center is the family practitioner full-time? Yes. Yes, it is full-time. The position, the selection of the candidate will be done in collaboration with us, with a representative from the doctors at the medical center and the director of the Clare Medical Health Center. So it's an employee of Health Authority, but the decision concerning the choice of the individual will be made in collaboration with the three groups.
As-tu d'autres questions?
Any more questions? So we'll go on to the committee report, 10.1, the Building Permits Committee. Councillor Danny?
There was 33 permits issued for $1.2 million worth of construction. And in September of the past year, 2018, there was 21 permits for a little over $2 million worth of construction. And the year to date, as of last year, 2017, there was $9.7 million. And this year, there is $7.9 million. So we're starting to catch up a little bit. We were a little behind, so we're starting to catch up, which is good.
Are there any questions? If not, thank you, Councillor Hill. And we'll go to 10.2, Western Counties Regional Library. Councillor DeVille. Thanks, Mr. Warden. We had a meeting for the libraries. We just put together a committee who joined the provincial government, especially to start to talk about the importance of libraries. That it's not just to go read books to the library, as in the past. We went to the library, we took out some books, and we brought them back when we were done with them. But it's been a while now that we've really started to. You can use Wi-Fi. There's lots of things, lots of services that they go, lots of things that go on at the library. Even meetings that take place at the library. So we're starting to let the public know that libraries are there for our use, for lots of things, not just to borrow books or read books. So that's what we mostly talked about. And so for the provincial government to see the same thing, that it's not just to read books. In that case, it costs more because we need to buy the equipment. It costs. We don't have more money from the government, but the libraries have more costs. So we try to promote to the public to come to the libraries, to increase the numbers of people who come and use the libraries, to present that to the province and say, look, we have a lot of people that use these libraries, so we need a little bit more money. So that's what we mostly talked about at the last meeting. I invite the public to use our library. There's one in Meteghan, and there's lots in the province. We're talking about changing the system, the card system, that the card, so if, for example, you have a card from Meteghan, that you could go to the library, to the Halifax library, and use the same card. It would be the same card throughout the province. So we're trying to do that. That will be a lot easier, to manage libraries like that. So that's that. I invite the public to use the libraries. It doesn't cost anything. They're there for the public. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions for Councillor DeVoe? Next, we'll go to new business, 11.1, motion to refinance the capital debt, Clare Health Centre. Do you want to talk on this a little bit? Just as a reminder, when the council decided to go ahead with the construction of the medical center, part of the financing was a mortgage of 2.5 million. On 20 years. We're now at the 10th year of this loan. And according to the loan terms through the Municipal Finance Corporation, there are two options now. One is to refinance the loan on the balance of the last 10 years, or to pay the balance, to pay the whole balance. The recommendation for the staff is to refinance on the balance for 10 years, and the council passed a motion earlier this summer. While discussing with the Municipal Finance Corporation, they told us that the loan, that we had to decide, and that the balloon payment was due on October 24th. But when we started everything to get the refinancing, it's going to be done without problem, except the earlier the money can be available to us is November 9th. So that leaves a little over 2 week period that we need to do something to address this. So that also, there are two solutions. One is that we get bridge financing or short-term loan to do this period of 1.25 million. And that once we do get the money, we pay it back. We pay that loan again. The second option, and which is the one that the staff has recommended, the finance director and myself, is that bridge financing, that we finance it from our own reserves. We have money, we have the money, capital money in reserve. We have the means to do it. It's not going to negatively impact the municipality's finances, especially since it's on a 2-week period. Once the money from the Municipal Finance Corporation is available for us, that money will be put in our account. And we'll just simply put it in the reserve. So at the last meeting, we passed a motion to go ahead with this way, to avoid all the administrative costs associated with getting a 1.25 million loan for essentially 2 weeks. So we said that we would just finance ourselves through our reserve. So the motion is here tonight. It's simply we need an official motion from the council to allow us to do this. Someone want to do the motion? Badusa. I move that the council for the municipality of the district of Clare provide $1,250,000 in bridge financing from its capital reserve to refinance the outstanding capital debt on the Clare Health Centre until such time as new capital funding in the amount of $1,250,000 is received from the Municipal Finance Corporation as part of the fall 2018 debenture process. Someone want to move? Councillor Potier? Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor, indicate by saying yes. Contrary? Motion passed. 11.2, motion to award tender, volunteer fire service capital and operational review. If you remember, as we discussed in the past, the municipality thought it was good to go ahead with an evaluation to go with our firefighting services with a emphasis on the trucks, but also on operational level. It's something we had included in the budget, this year's budget. We budgeted a modest amount for this work, $15,000. We went ahead with the request for submissions, and the deadline was today, 3 p.m. today. As of 3 p.m., we had only received one submission from KCB, Kelton, Churchill and Boyd, Inc. It's a company from Mississauga, Ontario. By reading the request, they do respond to the criteria. They do respect the criteria, there's no doubt. They even go over what we asked for. So their competencies, expertise, what they could offer to us in terms of services and deliverables is all good. But the cost that they ask for that work is a lot higher than what we had budgeted. But at the same time, it's the only one that we received. There are companies in Nova Scotia that we know offer this kind of work, but not one did present a submission. I don't know if it's just because they're too busy and didn't have the time. But that being said, I need direction from the councillor on how you'd like to proceed. I spoke with the principal of the company this summer. The RFP, if you remember, we had divided into two parts. The first was an evaluation vehicle assessment. The second part was operational review. So I asked if he could give me a little bit of information, how much it would cost to do part one and part two. and if his methodology would allow him to do it. So he gave me his best numbers, part 1 versus part 2. But according to him and what he proposes to do part 1, which is the vehicle assessment, he has to do part 2 operational review. And the operational review, the information that comes out of that helps to determine what we need in terms of vehicles, especially trucks. What model we need to have, how many trucks, etc., etc. So he seems to hesitate a little bit when it comes to do one part without the other. And I understand a little bit where he comes from. But just for information for the council, if it was doable and we could have the information that we need, according to Mr. Kelton, the first part would be 8,300, and the part 2 operational review would be 16,200. I can read you his answer. He talks about the price. So if there's an order to do things according to him, it would be more the operational review first and then the vehicle assessment. But as you know, for us, the priority for the council is the vehicle assessment. So what do we want to do with the trucks? Because of the need with the trucks we have now. So that's the situation that we just got it this afternoon. I was lucky enough to read it. To me, it seems that the study goes far enough that it could cause us more problems than help us. When he looks at how long it takes to get to a fire compared to, we're looking at how many departments we need, and that's a big decision for the council. For us, it's more, I do agree that it's more the trucks and what we need, but I don't know what the others thought. It goes in big detail for each department and how a department reacts. That's the impression that I got. The intention, I think, was to give us some direction on the purchasing side. So for future equipment, for trucks especially, but is there something else, purchases that we can do better that will allow us to take advantage of savings? What he suggests here goes pretty beyond that. So my recommendation would be maybe to have a discussion with, I forget his name, but the owner of the company, because he's the only one who sent a submission to see if there's something that can be done more in line with the budget that we have. So, and really only with the purchases, specifically trucks. If something can be done in relation to this, I will talk to you, and then the next meeting we can do a recommendation to go ahead with this. If not, we can maybe look at to retender, to try to encourage other companies to submit tenders, because I'm not ready to do the recommendation with what as it's presented tonight. The last thing that you touched on, the retendering. Well, I was thinking, would it be a good idea to go to retender, because it hasn't met our criteria, but just to really retender with the truck evaluation for the moment. Do you think there are people from the province that would be interested in doing that evaluation?
I thought of it, that might be what complicated things, that complicated the tender, that opened the doors to this type of tender. the vehicle assessment, but when we are talking about an operations review, that is a lot larger. That includes a lot of things. So if you have the chance to read this document, it is quite a study they are proposing. I have no doubt there would be some good information that would come out of it, but for now, I think it is going beyond what we need and what we want to explore. So we want an evaluation of our equipment to guide our future purchases to see what we want for next year and the future. But the operation, also that was the priority.
Des appels d'offres.
For the invitation to tender, what are the limits that allows you to do that without going back to tender? According to our procurement, it is something anything over $15,000, we have to go through a procurement process or the provincial purchase website. But if anything that goes between 1,500 and 15,000, I can go through a process for tenders and go up to 3 companies. Under $1,500, that's our choice. But is that something you plan to do if you can't negotiate with the company? Because we had budgeted $15,000 and we would like to go close to that 15,000. It's an item in our budget and it's public information, but there are at least 6 companies in Nova Scotia that I know who do that work. And the Fire Marshal Office gave us a list, and we can also go to the provincial website. So if we post on that website, they will see it and they will reply. But unfortunately, I don't know if they just didn't see it or they didn't apply. But if we retender with a call that is a bit more, that we are asking less information and concentrate on the evaluation and the equipment of the trucks, I can still put it on the provincial website, but I can contact those 6 companies individually and have a discussion with them. It wouldn't be an invitational tender, but we would go beyond 3 companies and go up to the 6 companies, and also give the chance to KCB to reconsider. They did a lot of work to prepare this document, so it's good to give them the chance to reconsider if they want to. Thank you. In reading the document, there is no doubt that they are qualified to do the work, but I found that it was a lot more advanced than what you are asking for. And the expenses, when the expenses come in, I thought it was a bit high, but it's too bad it is too high because it would have been good work, but it is more than what we need. Me too, I read this. I think that they have gone a bit too far, or a lot too far. I know that it would do the work, but it's not what we had talked about here at council for the work to be done. My impression, my initial impression, it was a study that you would do for a professional department where the firemen are paid, but here where the firemen are volunteers, it goes far enough. And you could put some fire departments in certain situations that would lose. We have a good relation now with the fire departments, and we don't want to break that. But in a city, for example, it would be a good exercise, and what they are presenting is worthwhile. But for us, I find that it is too much. If you look at all their references, they refer to the cities, the city of Fredericton and Oshawa. There were 4 that they referred to, and they are all professionals, like Ronnie mentioned. And that's what it is. So it's not really the study that we are looking for. I think there is a consensus to rework to see if we can find somebody who would come and look at our needs specifically, if you agree with that. 11.3, a letter of support for the 2019 to 2024 programming, Clare Acadian Society. I spoke with the director of the Société, and she presented her excuses. She wanted to present the project in person when she was here at the beginning, but now she simply forgot, so she called me the next day. What she wanted to ask at the time is the Acadian Society of Clare is preparing its financial request to Heritage Canada, and it is a request that they are asking to finance their programming for the next 5 years, from 2019 to 2024. As part of their request to Heritage Canada, they wanted to ask the council for a letter of support to reinforce their request, to show that there is an engagement on behalf of the municipality who will work in partnership with this societe. She is not asking for money, just a letter to support the request. So if it's something that the council is open to doing, I would like a motion to write that letter. I would like to move that the council of the municipality of Clare send a letter of support to the Acadian Society of Clare. And seconded by Councillor Hill. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. Next, item 12, we will go in camera session for the people on the air. We have 3 items, 12.1, the Echo Park, 12.2, rural internet, and 12.3, human resources. So we need a motion to go in camera, moved by Councillor Doucette, seconded by Councillor Poitier. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. Good evening to everyone on the air.
Ça, c'est les comptes. Je sais pas si c'est Amy qui va écrire les lettres. C'est Badiel qui va écrire les lettres pour ça.
Moi, je peux passer ça hier.
Ah, OK.
Puis là,
Ça, c'est le rapport que tu veux. Ou Stéphane. Ouais, peut-être l'envoyer. Tout c'est pas plus. Ouais.
je vais faire ça.
Ça, tu peux aider. Ben, nous avons déjà envoyé des lettres avant, so il devrait avoir des templates là, dans son ordinateur en quelque part.
Je l'ai donné toutes les files.
Ouais.
C'est une matter de
Yeah. Ouais, ben c'est ça.
tout le monde a différents systèmes.
Ouais.
Right? Moi, j'utilise un différent filing system, puis ceux-là, Alain.
Ouais, puis la Colette avant, elle est même pire. Ça.